Hello, I'm Jeff Smith from AMP Global, and today I will be presenting to you an instructional video to help guide you through the latest group of improvements to the AudioControl DM Smart DSP application. I can tell you that a lot of time and effort has gone into making these highly anticipated changes to increase reliability, stability, and enhance the performance of the DM Smart application. One of the most important improvements comes in the way the application has been improved to operate faster and smoother without taxing the available resources of your computer's CPU. In addition to all of these great improvements, a few new features have been added for those more skilled DSP tuners to dial in a high-performance audio system even further than before. So let's dive right into this. If you currently have an older version of the DM Smart DSP application downloaded to your computer, we strongly encourage you to remove all previous versions of the software and then perform a fresh clean installation of the latest version. This will ensure that you are only using the latest version of the software. And when you connect an AudioControl DSP product, you will force the computer to prompt the DSP device for a firmware update, which is exactly what we want and need to happen. If you are loading this new firmware onto a product that's part of an existing audio system rather than a brand new uninstalled unit, we highly suggest before starting this new firmware update that you save any previous settings onto your computer. These files will end in the .auc extension. That way you can quickly identify them and reload them as you need. Now, let's launch the application. The first thing you'll notice is that the default labels for each of the in and output channels have been adjusted for a more logical understanding of the channel assignments during the initial setup process. Input signal delay, which was rarely used or even implemented properly, was removed to free up a lot of resources on the DSP chip. We did this to make room for more useful and desirable improvements. Switching between input view and output view are now easy. Just clicking over the input and output channel, also in and out, and preset labels can be changed using double click. This allows you to customize the labels for each channel to quickly identify which channel you're working with. In the Output View tab, the words Output Summing have been changed to Signal Summing for easier understanding of this function. In the Crossover tab, the available slopes have been adjusted from 12 or 24 dB Linkwitz-Riley for your high-pass, low-pass, or bandpass options. We've now adjusted it to 12 dB, 18 dB, and 24 dB Linkwitz-Riley, and 18 dB is only going to give you the Butterworth crossover topology. Improved crossover filter identification along with the default crossover values for each channel have been changed to a safe value to use during the initial setup process for most systems. These values can be changed at any time to the recommended crossover values suggested by the speaker manufacturer. Crossovers can now be defeated or set to bypass by adjusting the lowest or highest point of the crossover slider. Previously, the crossover slider stopped at 20 Hz on the low pass and 20,000 Hz on the high pass, and full bypass wasn't possible. In the Delay tab, phase and polarity can now be adjusted or flipped individually for each output channel, rather than the previous way of only being adjusted in pairs. You'll also notice that the delay value starts at 0 inches. The DM Smart DSP application will automatically calculate for proper speaker delay if you enter the distance in inches from the reference listening point to each active amplified speaker channel in the vehicle. This saves so much time and confusion for some users. The AccuBase tab stays the same until you click the Tools tab. This will enable all-pass filter settings. All-pass filter adjustment is something that we suggest for those expert tuners who really know how to properly apply these filters. This is why it's hidden away. But for those who have measured the audio system and know how to apply these filters, you now have either a first order or second order all-pass filter for every DSP output channel, including the non-amplified RCA outputs on the D series amplifiers. Also within the Tools menu, there is an option to update the AC-BT24 firmware. This is to help alleviate many of the app connectivity issues that plague the BT24 when attempting to use it for app control or tuning. With the ever-evolving smartphone market, this should help relieve user frustration dramatically. However, I still recommend using a laptop with a USB connection whenever possible for the best and most reliable tuning experience. Output EQ has been revised as well. So instead of you having the option between 10-band, 14-band, or 30-band graphic, you now have the option of a 10-band parametric EQ along with either a 14-band or 30-band graphic EQ to choose from according to your tuning needs or styles. And last but not least, we've listened and added the ability to have a different crossover settings for each of your presets. Originally, it was decided that all presets should have the same crossover settings as something of a safety feature to prevent users from accidentally switching to a preset with the incorrect settings and potentially damaging speakers. But enough users have requested that to be changed, and we agreed that the maximum system flexibility and user personalization is best. And just when you thought it couldn't get any better, we've added a safety net to protect all of your hard work that in the past would have otherwise been lost forever. What we're doing here is basically retaining any changes made by the user or tuner that have not been saved into a preset, preventing it from being possibly lost in the event that you lose USB communication. While the app is open, the latest user changes will be there in a temporary file, also after a USB communication problem and restarting that connection. If the user decides to close the app, there will be a warning raised for confirmation if changes have been made so the user can decide to continue with or without saving them. This is a game changer for AudioControl DSPs. Well, I hope that it wasn't too long or boring and that you are excited as I am about the new feature set and amazing improvements to the DM Smart DSP application from AudioControl. Thanks for viewing and happy tuning.